g'day guys, Merv Hughes here, Commodore Solar. We've been speaking a fair bit about it, but when you get a solar pump in, the components that you need to start with. Now, sometimes people already have solar panels in, they want to get the pump, it's just a matter of running a cord out. What happens if I'm starting from scratch and need to get the solar panels as well?
Yeah, so what we do is we supply a pumping controller, so we start with that. So that's what we have listed on our website, a pumping controller. And like you say, sometimes people already have some components, and that's why we do that. It just keeps it easy. So some customers have solar panels or racking and that sort of thing. So basically there's a few optional extras that you may or may not require. So usually the first one we ask is how much power cable do you need? So we basically price the pumps without power cable because everyone needs a different length of cable. So just say if we priced in 50 metres and you only needed 30 metres, we've just paid for 20 metres you didn't need. That's why we do that. So we work out the cable length, we do a free join, so it comes joined on. So we've got the power cable is the first thing we ask. If you've got solar panels, so we can obviously supply solar panels, and a big one is how we're going to mount the solar panels. So you could get a ground mount, so we've got ground mounts available to mount the panels. Another big one.
Obviously they're at an extra cost.
They're at an extra cost. So these are all optional extras that you can either buy or not buy, basically if you require or not. So mounting the solar panels is a big one. A ground mount is quite expensive. You know, steel, you know, for a number of years it's been, the cost has been high. There is an alternative though. You can get the tin racking there. So that's probably 10% of the cost to get the racking, and it takes all the hard work out of building your own stand. So just say you've got some steel lying around the farm and you're half handy, you can knock up your own stand and save quite a bit on the mounting. So you can either get a stand or you can get the racking if you.
So that's just a mounting panel for solar.
That's right, and you can even mount. You can use that to mount panels on a tin roof as well. So say if you've got a shed nearby, you can mount the panels with the tin racking onto a shed, or use it to build your own stand.
Yeah. Now, what's this little device here?
Rightio. So then, okay. So we've got our submersible pumps here. So just say we want to mount the pump into a dam or a river.
So we've got the two different sizes, obviously, the big banger and the smaller one.
That's right. So for the little banger, we've got the small pump float. So basically the pump is going to sit underneath the float like that, and that's going to have enough buoyancy to keep that keep it all buoyant. And then basically larger pump, much heavier, we need a bigger float. So basically if you can imagine that sitting in a dam or river, we sit that on there, and then basically
and then that just floats above it.
That will be, yes, exactly. That'll float above the pump. Yeah, that's right. It's got extra buoyancy to handle that extra weight.
Yeah, and it just comes easy, doesn't it? I mean, buoyancy for the smaller pump. You can just use the blue wheel, I want to call it, blue float, and then obviously for the heavier, if you've only got that, it's going to drag it under. So, as you said, a little bit more buoyancy, and that seems to work.
It does the job, and then a lot of people have their own ideas for you know, floating pumps as well, and that's fine too. So you know, if you've got some floating device that you can use to float the pump, beautiful. Just use that. So there's no worries there. And another important component is the pressure switch kit. So basically, that's a pressure gauge there. Basically, just say you're pumping from your dam and you've got a tank 500 metres away. You don't want to run a wire 500 metres. So we've got a pressure switch kit. Now we install that into the pipe near the pump, and basically what that will do is that will work on pressure in the line, and as long as you've got a float valve in the tank at the other end, once that engages as full, it will build up pressure in the line, and it will tell the pressure switch kit, which will tell the controller, hey, the tank's full at the other end, stop pumping. And what will happen is it will stop pumping for half an hour, so it's not just cutting in and out all the time. It'll try again in half an hour to see if the tank has drawn down, and then it will start pumping again if it has.
Well, so it's all pretty automatic, isn't it?
It's automatic, exactly.
Once you get it set up, it basically runs itself.
Exactly. Once it's set up, it's pretty easy going after that. And some of the other components that we don't have here are things like a bore cap. It just keeps debris out of the bore. Stainless steel hanging cable. So if you've got a pump down a bore, you don't want to hang it off the power cable and pipe. You want to hang it off stainless hanging cable or rope or whatever you've got around, basically, just so you're not putting strain onto the cable and the pipe. So there's some of the other optional extras as well.
And for all the information, website? CommodoreAustralia.com.au.
Don't forget the AU.
Don't forget the AU. So CommodoreAustralia.com.au, and if you need any more further information, then you can get off the website. Just give you guys a call.
Give us a call. You know, farmers are on the land, they don't have time to sit on their phone. Give us a call. All good.
Yep, happy days. So, Commodore Australia in Shepparton, but Australia-wide. Remember that, Australia-wide. That means anywhere in Australia.